how do you prepare for this moment? Does the experience like the Kansas and Villanova have, or even Beeline, or how would you talk to the Loyola Chicago team? What would you tell them about this moment? Is it still just, hey, we're still underdogs? Because at some point, always say this, you're climbing Mount Everest, right? And it's all fun when you're climbing because you still see the top of the mountain. But at some point, if you look back down, you're like, are we supposed to be here? So if you're the coach at Loyola Chicago, what would you say?
Well, I think number one, at this stage of the season, all these teams have been playing extremely well, or they wouldn't be in the Final Four. So one of the keys is not having a departure from your routines. As you know, in the NFL, Major League Baseball, any sport, really any craft, even take musicians or dancers, creatures of habit and routine and repetition. And so one of the things we want to try and do as best as possible, even though it's the Final Four, and it's one of the most popular sporting events in the world, the more you can replicate or duplicate your routines, from pregame meals to your walkthroughs, your video sessions, keep in those same routines. And I think that's critical because you're more likely to perform when you're familiar and comfortable with the conditions and the routines that have allowed you to get to this point. Also, you don't want to overdo it. I think sometimes younger coaches make the mistake of trying to do too many adjustments. And there's an old coach named Pete Newell, Hall of Famer, who won an Olympic gold medal, also an NCAA title, an NIT title. He used to say the hay's in the barn by this stage. You can make subtle adjustments in terms of how you're going to cover, in terms of post defense, how you're going to handle or cover on-ball screens, understanding or making some subtle adjustments in terms of individual personnel in your game preparation, your drum roll into the game. But you're not going to dramatically change who you are. You might have a couple of wrinkles within your offense, go to a third or a fourth option, some counters, pressure, anticipating what teams may do in terms of their defensive coverages. But I think, keeping it simple, because you want your team mentally and physically fresh, on point for competitive greatness. Coach Wooden defined competitive greatness as being at your best when your best is needed. So don't over-prepare your team, overwork them. Be mindful of their fuel, both emotional and physical fuel, so they can bring that level of effort that it takes to win those two games on a Saturday and a Monday to cut down the nets.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.